Good evening, Dr. Walgamot. I'm Oliver Cole, and this is my journal article speech about rock and roll. Bang, bang goes the beat of the drum. The boys are lining up to see Buddy Holly, and the girls are waiting on a revolution. My grandfather's generation created a monumental music craze. What was it, you might ask? Well, you're in luck because I'm the man to tell you. From sex and drugs to disc jockeys and punks, rock and roll has shaped the culture of America. I'm Oliver Cole, and this is the real history of how rock and roll began. Released in 2013, the journal article entitled My Music, Not Yours, Ravings of a Rock and Roll Fanatic can be found on EBSCOhost, cited below. The author of this writing, B. Lee Cooper, entails what it's like to grow up progressively with rock music. The article provides information on artists, record labels, changes in musical recognition in the oh-so-famous Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum. I picked this article because it represents an enormous part of my life. Not only is my grandfather in two separate Hall of Fames, my father's played rock music my entire life, and that love has been passed down to me. The author's thesis states that no matter the generational gap, music brings people together. I will be discussing three main points that I learned from this research. The topics are the beginning of rock, the transition of rock, and where it is today. Originally, rock began in the era of the 50s. A sweet fusion of blues, country, pop, and an electric guitar background paved the way for rock and roll's creation. Many famous artists such as Buddy Holly, Elvis Presley, and Jerry Lee Lewis enticed the minds of teens everywhere and started a musical movement. Why? For some, especially the author, rock and roll created cultural change. Not only were female artists on the rise, but R&B artists were also receiving airplay. During the transitional phases of rock, groups and producers such as the Beatles, the Rolling Stones magazine, and Eric Clapton were put on a high pedestal for making such revolutionary changes in the musical style. While they did do so, many people forgot where the basis of rock and roll music began, which was mainly blood, soul, sweat, and sex. Rock music was becoming something to put a label on. Artists were being rated best of or all-time something or another, when in all actuality, these publications were the opinions of only a few. Some people fell into this ranking system, while others disregarded it completely. This created tension and change in musical style, and it also differentiated how people reacted to this tension. Last but not least, we'll get into where rock and roll is today. 75 years, plus a few more depending on who you're talking to, rock has developed into one of the largest genres in the world. There's a saddening fact in this as well. Not only large, but so consequently changed that sounds, motifs, even certain styles of rock are lost completely, gone with the artists who developed them. Nowadays, music is mixed with other genres to the point of a creation of a new genre. Pop punk, for example. Rock has become commercialized, patent-pending, taken over by industry, technology, and musicians who are out for money instead of passion. In conclusion, I want to reiterate the main points of this article. Rock and roll was not a genre that came around quickly. It was born in the 50s, nurtured by the 60s, perfected in the 70s, and glamorized in the 80s. Rock and roll affects generations of our past and present. While change is not a bad thing, if it moves too quickly, without appreciation, the roots of an entire movement can be lost completely. Finally, where rock and roll is today has undoubtedly changed. It's also changed for the people who still listen to it. Whether the song is old, new, or played with a synthesizer, there's no denying the fact that music has brought people together for over 75 years and counting. Thank you.